It's really a privilege to be back where this all began, right? I look around this room, I see a lot of familiar faces and a lot of new ones, and that is a testament to this initiative and how TPF rolls. I want to take you back about 5 years ago. Anybody remember what happened 5 years ago? Raise your hand. Every hand in the room should go up. This is a test because this will happen again. 5 years ago was the beginning of a new chapter in society. We had no idea what to expect. Imagine accepting a position in February of 2020, taking you 1,000 miles away from your friends and family. Super excited about that. Then the world shifts on a dime. And you're not sure exactly how you're going to stay connected, how you're going to transition, how you're going to onboard to a new position entirely virtually. By the way, TPF mastered that very quickly. I've actually onboarded twice during the pandemic, so very interesting experience. We didn't know what to expect, but we knew that digital access was critical for folks to be able to participate in society. And this all started with a question from Beth. Where are you at? Beth Duda? There you are. Started with Beth, what are the kids gonna do? Right? All of a sudden, we have no institution for them to go to physically. That's what it started. I don't know about you, but in the vast majority of cases, kids are likely not in isolation. They were isolated, but they don't just manifest, right? They're part of a family. Families make up communities. There's a reason this is digital access for all. It was about the kids, but kids thrive within families that thrive within communities that thrive, right? So it became very important to address all of that. How were we going to do that? We had absolutely no idea. None. But we had a question. And one of the guiding principles for us was cope, adapt, and innovate, which very quickly became paramount to my fellowship experience and to the way that the Patterson Foundation functions in the world. Sometimes you are, I love this picture, shout out to Stacy Sternberg, sometimes you're hanging on for dear life. Sometimes you're balancing things pretty well, and sometimes I've never unicycled, but if you have, congratulations. If you can pull that off, then you deserve the cape that that little person is wearing. This is not a linear process. Some days you can fall right from innovating back to coping. Some days you get to cope for about 10 minutes and then you're right back to adapting and balancing that tightrope. Can we relate to that? Anybody relate to that? Raise your hand. Yes. All right, good. Thank you for the interaction. I love it. This was really important because this was what the world was trying to do, to put a name to it. We didn't know. I drove overnight from Indianapolis to my new residence at the district at Rosemary because we didn't know if we could stay in a hotel. We still had, remember the plastic bags you kept in your car for the gas can? Right, because we didn't know anything. How did we find out? We started asking questions. We started doing research. And that really is the origin of this story. And when Sherry calls Dr. Lori Stryker a mastermind, that might not even be enough. I remember a conversation with Lori, with Michael, Deborah, with Beth, very early on in my fellowship, maybe 2 or 3 weeks in. How are we going to approach digital access and what could this look like? The answer was we didn't know. So it became an exploration. How do you find out things you don't know? You explore, you connect with people, you learn. And that's really what this journey is. And I want you to see the smallest circle is learning. It's the smallest because it's most critical. You can't share or collaborate until you learn what it is that you're going to be addressing. And when I say learn, I mean deeply understand. I don't mean just figure out and get a checklist. I mean, get all that information in, synthesize it in a way that makes sense, and then be able to disseminate that information out. And we'll go in a little bit more depth there. But this started with one interview and 2 critical questions that are listed up there. Who else cares? What's possible? We wanted to find out who else cared about this space because, newsflash, digital divide has been around for a very long time. The difference was COVID made it a priority. COVID made it unignorable because you could not participate without it. Yeah, you can make it work. How many of you have a phone? Maybe some of you threw it out after last night. It's possible, right? We all have that. How many of you have written a term paper in a Taco Bell parking lot on your phone? Anybody? I would not want to do that, but people do it still today, right? So it became important to figure out, is that worthy of relying on? Perhaps, perhaps not. So we started with that one interview, and I like to phrase it kind of like a philanthropic hydra, right? One interview complete, 2 more pop up, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, 2 more. And I want to show you some important milestones here in a minute, but it was over 50 in a very, very short amount of time. And from these interviews, we gained something really important. We understood there wasn't just one aspect of digital access. It was a balance of a couple of different factors. First, connectivity. How many of you have internet at home or work? Love seeing that. There's still a lot of people that don't, but there's a lot more that do now than did in April of 2020 when we started this journey, right? Connectivity isn't just the ability to connect into an internet. Anybody know the pinwheel of death when I say that? You know what that is? Yeah? Anybody been watching a movie and it just starts to buffer at the best part? Frustrating, right? How many of you have frozen in a very interesting position in Zoom? We have some screenshot receipts, Mr. Corley, of some very wonderful moments of that. That is frustrating, right? Imagine if the connection that you had for the internet, how many of you, if I say a gig or 500, do you know what I mean? Anybody? I'm not going to go into super technical stuff, but that's fast compared to 5, which is pretty slow. So imagine you have 5 in a household of 5 with 5 old devices connected all on Zoom. How do you think that's going to go? Raise your hand if you think that's going to go super well. Good, that's a test to see if you're paying attention. That's awesome. The reliability of it matters, the speed matters. So it's not just as simple as do you have a connection. Devices. I have 3 devices on me today, and I don't have the 2 laptops that I left at home. How many of you have more than 1 device on you this morning? Right. How many of you use more than 2 devices on a regular basis? Yep. How many of you can access everything you need to access from those devices? Yeah, most of us, right? The needs of a 3rd grader in a classroom vary pretty drastically from the needs of a grad student at Harvard. Vary pretty drastically from the needs of my grandmother. Drastically from the needs of me. I work through the internet. I play through the internet. We all do, right? So finding that ability to have that right device. Not everybody needs a brand new iPad Pro, but I like to think I do. Maybe I don't, but I have one, so I guess I do, right? We need the right device for our moment and for what we are working on to make sure that we can access things that we need to access. A 14-year-old computer is not going to be able to handle the latest Microsoft Office. And if you don't have the latest Microsoft Office, good luck in the working world. Good luck. I wish you well. Arguably, most importantly here is the skills and support to use it. Perfect, you can connect to a reliable internet source. Awesome. You have the right device for your needs. Great. You don't know how to log into your computer. Challenge. You don't know how to use Zoom to facilitate breakout rooms. If you had a role like mine, that would be a real challenge, right? Being able to use the devices in ways that help you advance what it is that you're working on is absolutely critical. And not one element here can be out of place or it doesn't work. Just take a look at this slide for a moment. I'm not going to walk you through every aspect of this. That's a whole lot of action that's happened within 5 years, and this is not an exhaustive list. So just to give you an idea of how a simple question can begin a journey that then takes on a life of its own. And that's what we have here. We're all in this room because someone asked the question, I wonder who else cares about this? I wonder what's possible. 23 webversations. Anybody know what that means? If you do, you've been exposed to TPF for a long time. We like to make up words because a webinar wasn't quite what it was, and it wasn't quite a conversation, but when you put the two things together, that is a webversation. Those were interactive webinars that helped both share what we learned so far and uncover the path forward. Because we never had a set destination planned. We had the next set of powerful questions. And that continues to this day, and that's why we're all here in this room, is to dive deeper into that throughout this full day experience. 175 plus research reports. Most of you know how long that takes to do. That was around so that we could really craft a message that would resonate with the community as to why this is important. How many of you can get through one day, without accessing the internet? Raise your hand if you can do it. Good. Put your hand down if that means you're camping. It is extremely difficult to have even a day, even a Saturday, where you don't have to work, for those of you that are fortunate enough to not have to work Saturdays. It's very difficult to get through a day without needing to access the internet in some way. There are so many hindrances to digital access that it's almost impossible to list them all. But the main barriers: cost, awareness, access. The broadband benefit that happened a couple of years ago, that was huge from an awareness and an access standpoint. Good news, several providers kept it. So if you're in, you're in. Sharing, now that we've learned, we can share. That's what we're doing today. Sharing, determining those next steps. Everybody went to virtual meetings only through work 5 years ago. How many of you have no more virtual meetings? Raise your hand. So I thought. How many of you forget to build in buffer time from virtual meetings to in-person meetings? Me too. Me too. It's a different world than when you used to be able to just go back to back to back, right? That continued evolving is still going to happen. Digital access will remain a critical component to our society and build from where it is now. It will never go away. It will never relent. So we will still continue to find ways to strengthen the impact of digital access for all, to strengthen the impact that we can have for our communities, and they can have the access they need to be able to fully participate in this world. Thank you very much.